Det en ganske stor snuoperasjon som skal til. Neste mann ut har jo laget selskapet som heter rett og slett Turn2. Den omstillingen som bygg- og eiendomssektoren skal igjennom, hvor materialene tilhører en del av jorda, så har vi en av de stjernearkitektene som har vært med å forme både tjenesten Light as a Service. Han har vært med å utvikle konsepter som bygnings- og materialbankteknologier, og han har også vært med å lage et charter for material rights. Rao han og det neste mestermøtet som vi skal ha med i dette webinaret i dag. Vær så god, Thomas.
Okay, good. Now, hello everybody. My name is Thomas Rao, and I'm an architect, and I have an architecture office in Amsterdam. So for 20 years, we were focused on sustainability. And some years ago, we realized that sustainability is not solving the problem. So I call it the Maxit. So I want to invite you for a kind of a mental journey. I think we have 24 minutes. And I hope that everybody can see the slides in the room. And I call it the Maxit, the mental exit, because I think we should optimize the system, but we have to change the system. So we need no energy transition, but we need an energetic transition. Next. So we thought that we can solve the problem with sustainability, but to be honest, sustainability is optimizing the system. And if you optimize something, it's getting more and more expensive. The stepping forward are smaller and smaller, and at least you don't change anything. So I will give one example why we are walking in the wrong direction. Next slide, please. And this is electrical car. I mean, Volkswagen, they need 30,000 tons cobalt next year, but the world production is 123,000 tons, and this is just Volkswagen. So it's impossible to change everything by optimizing the system. Next slide, please. So we have to think about this, what is then the next step? And then we had the climate change in Paris. I think we don't need a climate change, but we need a mind change. I mean, if you have a problem in your relation because you're an alcoholist and you promise your partner in 2055, I will stop with drinking, then you all know you will never fix the relation. So we don't need a climate change, we need a mind change. So we have to do not what is possible, but we have to agree what is necessary. Next. What is the reason? I mean, the reason is, this is a very famous slide. It's from Planet Earth, from Christmas night 1968. The whole sustainable movement started after this photo, and the humanity was getting aware that this fragile planet, this fragile buffet, is not from us. It's not from Shell, it's not from Apple, it's not from Facebook, it's from no one. And if you stay somewhere where nothing is from you, you are the guest. So we have to organize to be a guest on planet Earth. Next. And if we are guests, then we want to know, okay, what are the house rules? And one of the house rules from planet Earth is the Earth is a closed system. What we have, we have. What we don't have, we don't have. So, and everything is equal important. Next. So we have to be aware that planet Earth is a closed system. In a closed system, there is no physical growth possible. The only growth in a closed system is the mental growth. So we have to work on our mental condition to organize to be guests on planet Earth. Next. Another house rule is that our being is temporary, and then everybody of you, I mean, maybe you already know it, but no one from you will leave this planet alive. Impossible. So our being is temporary, but every being is temporary. Nothing on this planet is forever. Not the car, not the room, not your laptop, not your shoes, not your house. Everything is temporary. Next. But the consequences of temporality, they are permanent. I mean, in Cairo, they're still fighting for every year for the maintenance budget, and they're all asking themselves, so who gave the permission to build these pyramids? So we have to be aware that every need is a temporary one, but the consequences from the answer to serve a temporary need is permanent. Next. And we all know this, that everything is temporary, but the consequences are permanent. So we have to think in kind of a forethought, what are the permanent consequences if I act right now in this way? So we have to get aware, what are the permanent consequences of our acting? Next. So that means that whatever we do is an option, because an option means it's a temporary solution. But everything is a temporary solution. Every building is a temporary solution. And to organize an option with future means we have to organize the option in a way that all materials we need to organize these options, that we should organize the option in a way that we can use all the materials again and again after we finish this option. So this is the challenge we have to work on. Next. So, I mean, we all know in art, there's no scarcity. I mean, we have no scarcity of Rembrandts. We have no scarcity of Van Goghs, because we all know it's a limited edition, because the art is limited. Next. So that means there is no resource scarcity. There's no resource scarcity because all materials are a limited edition. Next. Are there any technical issues, or can we go on? Katrien? I don't hear you.
Everyone is muted, so I think you can just go on.
Okay. So in nature, we have the sun is an unlimited source, and the sun is coming back every day, and the sun is organizing the limited processes in nature in an unlimited way. So then the question is next, who or what is then the sun for the second nature? For example, for buildings, for cars. So everything what we are creating as a human being. Next. And the sun of the second nature for everything we are creating, next, is data. So the unlimited source sun for the second nature is data. So let's focus on data and what is the position of data in the circular economy. Next. Because we just mentioned sustainability is optimizing the system, but circularity is designing a new system. And circularity is not about material. Circularity is about the attitude towards us and everything what makes our life possible. So this is a huge agenda, and it has nothing to do with sustainability, because the skills we need, the capital we need, the attitude we need is completely different between circularity and sustainability. Next. So let's ask ourselves then, what is, and I just want to focus now on the material part, because this is one playing field, of course. So if we realize that waste, in fact, is material without identity, and a recycling company, they say, hey, I know you, you're not waste, you are iron, or your name is silver, so it doesn't belong to be waste. So if waste is material without identity, next. So we thought some years ago, maybe it's a good idea to give all materials in a building a registered, a documented, and an archived identity. Because if material has a documented identity, it can never be waste. Next. So we did this for several buildings, and then some years ago we realized maybe this is a fantastic platform we can create. And we all know that even the surface of planet Earth is a limited edition. Next. And to organize the surface of planet Earth, we started the library, which is called Cadastre. Cadastre is organizing all the limited edition surface of planet Earth. So we said, okay, let's start then the Cadastre for materials, Madaster. Madaster is the Cadastre for materials which eliminates waste for 100%. And I mean, if you say 100%, okay, now Thomas, now you go much too far. But I think 100% is very, very, 0 and 100 is very, very easy. I mean, there are thousands of reasons for you not to sit in this room and not to watch this strange webinar with me, whatever. And there's just one reason why you are there. And the reason is you want to be there. And everybody who wants to be there is there for 100%. So the point is, if we really want something, it's always 100%. So I'm not interested in everything which is not 100%, because that means we don't want it. We not really want it. We just try it. Next. So we started this platform, Madaster. It's a public online platform to registrate via a BIM model all the materials in your building. It's www.madaster.com, and this platform now is running for 3 years. And actually, in some weeks we will start it in Switzerland, and we also started in Germany. And I also heard maybe there will be something happen in Norway, but maybe you have to ask other people about this. So we have more than 3 million square meters now in this platform, and it's a foundation. And all the data in the platform belongs to the people who put the data in the platform. So Madaster is not the owner of the data, not at all. Madaster is just organizing the platform to register the limited edition materials on planet Earth. Next. Next, please. Thank you. So the Dutch government, they asked us to start a Madaster for infrastructure, because we have a lot of roads and bridges like you have. And they want to know, it's nice to have a bridge and a highway, but we really want to know what kind of materials did we use to create this infrastructure. Next. So then the next step is, so if everything is a temporary one, everything is an option, and materials without identity are waste, that means we have to change the design. We have to change the design in architecture and whatever we do, because that means we have to create every product as a material depot. That means in the depot, you know what is in the depot, you know how much, and you know exactly how to get it out. So we have to change the design in the circular economy. Next. So I'll give you some examples. This was this is a client from us some years ago. This was the old headquarters, and he wants to demolish the whole stuff because it's worthless. He said this is really a worthless composition, and I said worthless doesn't exist, because worthlessness is organized by valuable materials. So first, let's write down what kind of materials are used in this composition. So we had 1 week time to organize it. And now on the next slide, you will see 92% what you see here. Next slide, please. You will see on that slide. These are 90% of the same material which was organizing a worthless building. Now it's organizing a valuable building. And of course, if you registered what is already there, then the material, then the building is a mine. if you design a building in a forward direction, then it's a material depot, because now we know exactly what is in the building. Another aspect for how important is our mindset. You see a big roof here, it's a steel roof, and of course we didn't ask a steel company to make a steel roof, because if a steel company is creating a steel roof, it's very expensive, because their business model is to sell as much as possible steel. But me as a client, I am searching for someone who can create a steel roof with less as possible material. So I asked a completely different company next, and this company was a roller coaster, because the roller coaster, he knows, I have to build up it every week, I have to disassemble it every weekend, and I have to bring it to the next city and the next weekend. So he is creating a steel construction with less as possible steel. So I asked him, so Mr. Roller Coaster, can you make a roof? He said, no, Mr. O, I can't. I said, okay. Second question, can you imagine to organize a horizontal roller coaster? I said, oh yeah, I can do that next. So he created a horizontal roller coaster and we called it a roof. And you see here, it's a roller coaster construction principle, and we saved 34% less steel. The same roof, nothing changed, the mindset changed. And we ask people with a different kind of business model. Next. So this is a material depot. Of course, it's energy positive. We as Rao Architecture, since 20 years, nearly all buildings are energy positive. This is really not a big issue. It's just a problem that we separate the government and the church and not the government and the lobby. I think this is the biggest problem we have. That's why we think it's so unbelievable difficult to create energy positive buildings. So now we had a material mine in the beginning. Now we saw a material depot, so a new design in the forward direction. And now let's make the next step to a material bank. Next. Next slide, please. Thank you. And it's a bank in a bank. I mean, this is Triodos Bank, the most sustainable bank in the world. And I want to create a new building. I said, Thomas, we don't want to create a new building. We want to create a new kind of real estate generation. So I said, okay, then real estate is getting mobile estate because it's a temporary answer. So this is a building, 12,500 square meter. Next. It's in the middle of Holland, and it's for 92%. It's a wooden construction. It's completely out of wood. Even the core, even the elevator, everything. Next, everything is done in wood. The floors, the ceiling, and everything is standardized. Next, and of course, if it's a depot, then you never build a building, but you have to organize a logistic process with the result, a building. It's exactly the other way around. And then in place from 18 months for a traditional process, we organize a logistic process and we just need 13 months. Next. And of course, the building has to be remountable because it's a temporary answer for a temporary need. And let's say maybe in 3 years or 30 years or 100 years, whatever, nobody will need this building, then it will be worthless. And the building is built by 165,312 screws. So it's very, very easy to disassemble the building to take out the screws. So we thought about the forward direction, how to disassemble the building in the future. Next. And because it's a wooden building, we have a CO2 negative balance. So it's not less positive, it's even negative. So we save more than 1.6 million kilograms in the building, just in the way how we made the building and how we organize the connection. And of course, that more than 90% of the building is made by the material wood. Next. So the German forest just needs 11 minutes to grow the used wood quantity. So, I mean, wood is a very, very fine material because wood is an unlimited source, because the sun of wood is the sun and is not the data. Next. So it's an energy positive building, it's CO2 negative, and it has 100% circular potential. So, and why do I say circular potential? Because a circular building doesn't exist at all. I mean, I can create something which is circular, but if in the future everybody is throwing it away, it's not circular at all. So the only thing we can create a circular potential in the building, and it's up to the people in the future if they want to activate the circular potential, yes or not. So a circular building doesn't exist. Next. So the building is registered in Madaster, and in Madaster you also can see what is the value of the material in the future. So this is a material bank. The depreciation of this building is not going back to zero. The depreciation from this building is going back to the minimum value of the material which is registered in Madaster. So there is a huge financial incentive, even if you don't like the whole story, but there is a huge financial incentive for buildings with a circular potential. So this is a material bank. Next. So let's have a look to the relation. I mean, on the left side, hopefully you see it has something to do with you, the spirit, the soul, and the body. So the most material part, of course, is the body, and the most mental part is the spirit. So on the physical part of the body part, the dimension here, we organize the sustainability. The know-how we need is just information. The capital we need is money, and the level we are acting on is a product. And there's nothing at all wrong with it. That's completely okay. But we have 3 levels to act and not one. Even as a human being, we have 3 levels. So let's have a look to the middle one. Here we have the soul. This is circularity. The know-how is not information, it's knowledge. And the capital for circularity is not the money, it's communication. Because we have to organize to facilitate responsibility. Where sustainability is organizing ownership, circularity is organizing responsibility. And then you see on the level part, circularity is not about a product, it's about a new market. So if you really want to create something new, never serve a client, because this is not a new market. But let's have a look. I'll give you another example. You know, the unbelievable ugly car from Toyota, the first Prius, unbelievable ugly car. And they bring the car on the market because there was no client in the world who wants to have a hybrid car. And then the people said, okay, this is the best moment to bring the car on the market because we create our own market and we are not serving a client. Of course, you create new clients. And then we have the transformation level. This is about wisdom. It's about respect. It's about love. It's about attitude. And this is a mental level. So you see, we have 3 different kinds of levels where we can act on, and not just one, which is called sustainability. Next. Just to give you another window, what happens with material, because if we are guessed, the material is from no one, but how do we organize then the material? So then material as a service. So that means the mines are in the future the landlords of materials. They just rent it out. They rent the cobalt out to Volkswagen to create an electrical car. And if you think this is very, very far away, I can tell you the German car factory are organizing cobalt as a service. This is what is really going on. So we have in the forward direction, we have the value creation chain. And if someone in this chain doesn't need the material anymore, they doesn't throw it away, but they just give it back in the value sustain chain. So in the forward direction, we create the chain, and in the backwards direction, we have the sustain chain. And there's a constant income, we call it rent, to the mines because they just rent it out. So you can imagine what are the benefits for all the developing countries. And now we are working together with the Vatican. What does this means for Africa? Next. And another dimension is you all know the 17th Sustainable Development Goals. And I was 2 years ago by the United Nations, and I was invited, and they asked me, Thomas, what do you think about the 17th Development Goals? I said, this is a genius idea, but it won't work. So they were really shocked. He said, it won't work. How can you say that? Why not? He said, you know what? I studied the 17th SDG, and you can do it by yourself too. And then you will realize they all go about the how and the what. No one of the 17th is about the why. And the why, if you don't know the why, what the hell are you doing then? So I give the 18th, and the 18th SDG is about the attitude and humanity. It's about the new relation between us and everything what makes our life possible. Because this relation is completely out of balance. Even this relation is lying on intensive care since years. So that's what we have to fix. Next. And the next step is we said, okay, if all people have rights, we have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and we are dependent in our life towards everything what makes our life possible, maybe then everything around us has rights. So we started an initiative with some scientists all over the world. So this is really the very, very first concept. We said, okay, let's write down the Universal Declaration of Material Rights. So that means in the future, maybe we are not allowed to do everything with material what is maybe possible, because maybe then we are losing the materials. So, but if you have time, you can read it, and there's a special website of the UDMR, and you can read it. I just want to give the dimension of this mindset. It's not just a trick. Oh, I'm circular. Are you also circular? No, it's not a trick. It's a cultural movement about a new relationship. Next. Now we nearly finished, and I think there is a last misunderstanding. So we are not human beings on a spiritual journey, but of course we are spiritual beings on a human journey, and no one from us will leave this planet alive. I think this is really reality we have to focus on. Next. So that was a 25-minute mental journey, and I realized this was some really big steps, but hopefully you can understand a little bit the dimension of the difference between sustainability and circularity. And if you like to, one more slide. So if you want to read more about it, and hopefully it will be in the future in your own mother language, you never know. You can read the book Material Matters, and then we have all these different kind of steps. They are explained much more than I can do this in 25 minutes. So Katrin, that was 26 minutes, sorry.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Hei, takk for at du så på dette klippet med Thomas Rau fra Tårnet Kulturarena. Likte du dette innholdet? Abonner på kanalen vår for enda mer om sirkulærøkonomi.